Gareth Southgate obviously not very happy with his defender's treatment by the fans. Maguire responding, says he can handle the hate and the heat. For more on this, we welcome into the show Stuart Robson and Ian Darke. Ian, I'll start with you. Ridiculous, the words there from Gareth Southgate. Have England fans gone too far in their criticisms of Harry Maguire?
Yes, I think they have done. Harry Maguire has been part of an England team that reached the semi-finals of the World Cup in 2018, the final of the last European Championship. But he has been a kind of jinxed figure. He's become this figure of fun, and Gareth Southgate can't understand it. I can't either. I think it's something to do with the 80 million price tag, his loss of form, his loss of his place at Manchester United. But he hasn't deserved the kind of boo boy treatment that has been dished out to him. So there are two issues here, I think. Southgate is right, I think, to have a go and be angry about the treatment he's getting. But there is now a question about, is he still the first choice centre-half for the games that matter when he's playing so few minutes for Manchester United? Or has somebody like Lewis Dunk, who was very good against Scotland, now laid claim to his shirt?
Robbo, you love Maguire. You're very notably anti-Southgate. So where do you fall on this?
Well, I'm not sure that Southgate's helped the situation by bringing it up. You know, the player's going to have to deal with it because he's had a couple of poor years. I think, Ian's absolutely right. I think he's taken too much criticism. He's become a figure of fun. It was only maybe 3 years ago where everyone was talking about him being a top-class defender. And I was always talking about him being one of the best players coming out with the ball from the back. But he's made mistakes, and you can tell by all the stick he's been getting in the press by his own fans. And that's the problem when the Manchester United fans are booing him, which they have done in the past, and jeering him when he makes a poor pass. He's a player that's lost confidence completely. And when you lose your confidence, you don't pick your passes out quite so well. You don't run quite so quickly. You don't see danger quite so quickly. And that's what's happened to Harry Maguire. I don't think Erik ten Hag has helped him. I don't think Southgate's helping him with that. He's a player, in my view, should have left Manchester United in the summer and gone and tried himself and win over a new set of fans somewhere else and start his career again. I think he's made a mistake by staying with Manchester United.
Stevie, if you're in the player's shoes, do you want your manager defending you so?
Created this, and we have to talk about it. Harry Maguire as a player does not deserve the criticism he's getting. I feel like each and every individual in the world, any human being, we all have a level we end in terms of what we do. Harry Maguire was one of the best players we saw at Leicester. We cannot disagree on that. He was one of the best players we saw at Leicester. And going to Manchester United from Leicester, that's a jump from where he was to where he is now. And that is now a different level. And the criticism of that level, it's different from what you would get from Leicester City when you're playing from Leicester fans. Even West Ham, where he was supposed to go. So what these guys are talking about, he doesn't deserve this. He's a good player. He's one of the best. But the question that is being asked, which I think Gareth Southgate is trying to run away from by putting the player in this hot soup, is to run away from the fact he told us himself, the manager, that he picks players for England in terms of their performance. And we all know for a fact that Harry Maguire and Calvin Phillips haven't played any game. Whenever Harry Maguire was playing, he's actually been taken out. He doesn't even have his starting spot at his own club. And Gareth Southgate is picking him, making him play in an England team where you expect that what he's talking about when he talks about performance is what determines a player who plays. It confuses everyone who's watching football, anyone who's listening to him, that exactly what are you telling us? Why are you lying to us that you tell us you take players out of their forms and you go pick Harry Maguire? We were being told that before, and we were being told that Harry Maguire is never disappointed for England. But we saw it this week. We saw it this week what was happening, that even the Scottish fans were excited to see Harry Maguire comes in because they know that he's going to be working as an agent for Scotland. That is not trying to throw this as shade or whatever, but this is just the fact of life. That's what is happening, and that's what we are seeing. So I don't get what Southgate is really trying to achieve with this one, which now Steve Nico is asking. What exactly is he trying to achieve from this?
Vociferously, or to Robbo's point, does it kind of bring more spotlight to it?
Well, I think when you're asked the question, then yes, you have to defend him. I have no problem with him defending him. I've got to tell you, though, I'm a little torn as to whether Gareth Southgate is actually helping the situation. I mean, why are you bringing a guy in who's clearly not fit? You saw with the own goal, he couldn't pick his feet up. So he's clearly not fit. Southgate's a guy who talks about, I'll pick people on form, and then he's pulling Harry Maguire in. I actually don't think he's doing Harry Maguire any favours at all. He's setting them up, in my opinion. Not on purpose. Mm-hmm. I understand he thinks he's doing him a favour, but I don't think he's doing him any favours at all. And I think it was Robbo said, he needs to get away from United, go somewhere else, and have a good 6 months somewhere, and all this will kind of, not disappear, but be forgotten. And then you start again. But not so sure. He shouldn't be in England squad, quite frankly.
Let me ask you, kind of inside the dressing room, will the players see this and say, we like our manager defending our teammate, or he's defending and maybe being too loyal to a guy, as Stevie says, that shouldn't be getting called in?
Look, I think sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that players are very complicated figures and enigmatic. When it comes to stuff like this, players are very simple. You can call whoever you want to. You are, as a manager, well within your rights to call whoever you want to under whatever conditions. So long as that player, when he's on the field and you give him an opportunity to play, he responds and actually has good performances. So as players inside that locker room, you don't care where this player comes from, you don't care where he plays, so long as he's out there, he plays well for you and helps you win games. And that you can trust that guy to do a job because he's playing well and he's performing. So again, this is all dependent upon performance. The moment this turns the other way, that's when players start going, wait a minute, wait a second, wait a minute. All those things that we were willing to sweep under the table and say, you know what, it's all right, it's okay that he's not playing at Manchester United because he's playing well for the national team. But that has not been the case at the international level either. He hasn't been playing well. He's making mistakes. And that's when players kind of start going, not to the manager because they like their place in the national team, not to Harry Maguire himself, but maybe their roommate, maybe their families, maybe somebody that they trust, and they go, how long is this guy going to be around? Don't we need to find a solution? Shouldn't we be looking for somebody that can actually do this job? Because at some point, these mistakes are going to hurt us in a big moment. And it didn't yesterday, but it may, and it may show up at the worst time possible, and we continue to put this guy out there. Those conversations are going on quietly, away from the locker room, away from Gareth Southgate. But believe me, when players start seeing mistakes that are happening consistently, players are going to talk. If the mistakes weren't there, everybody would be okay with it. But if their performance is not there, then we have an issue.
Robbo, better for England come October to leave Maguire out or bring him back in?
He's now, you're always expecting something to go wrong for him. The crowd are up for him to make mistakes. I think it's very difficult. I still think he's done okay for England. You know, and Ian said it. He's been in the last couple of championships. He's played in the semi-finals, and he's been one of England's best players. That might not be the case now. But if you're not playing for your club side and you're under pressure and you're lacking confidence, I'm not sure you can come in and play particularly well.
Yeah. Because let's not try to keep shying away from the fact that people are talking about people attacking Harry Maguire. It's happening because the pundits hates him, the world hates him. It's actually his own players who are in England who are talking about the Harry Maguire factor. The Harry Maguire situation, most of the players, they go to their clubs, they're performing so well, and they're asking themselves, why don't I deserve an opportunity to play for England? And they won't say that to Southgate. That's a fact. We have to know that. That's a fact. They'll never say it to Southgate. But they'll talk about it with their pals. They'll talk about it with their friends. They'll talk about it with their family. And you know what those families do? Talk about it with the other families. And the other families will talk about the other ones. You see the chain. And now that leads up into the crazy chaos of Harry Maguire all over people. And you know what does this do? Forces the pundits to talk about Harry Maguire. Because Gareth Southgate is attacking the pundits here and the fans that they don't deserve to be doing this to Harry Maguire. But they're seeing it, and when they talk about it, it's hate. But when they keep quiet about it, somebody who's calling on TalkSport, somebody who's going on social media talking to ESPN, they are talking about it complaining because guess what? Their brother, their mate, who is a player for the team who plays the same position that Harry Maguire plays for, he's been dropped out for Harry Maguire, and now this is creating this crazy complex and this chaos. And now you find Gareth Southgate, you ask him a question like what Stevie Nico is asking. Why are you putting this to the media? Do you think you are helping Harry Maguire by any chance of talking about this? Do you think by any God-given rights you are helping him by talking and putting it in social media like you're doing? Because you are creating nothing but chaos. It leads to nothing but chaos at the end of the day. So it hurts that we have to keep talking about another man's child like this, another woman's child like this, because he doesn't deserve it as a person. But sometimes you have to accept it. And I'm not talking to Harry Maguire. I'm talking to Southgate, that if the player is not at a level where he's expected to be representing at a level, you have to allow him to work on that. He is the one who failed himself, and it was even asked. He should have left Manchester United. Why did he refuse the West Ham move? Because according to the news we are being told, it wasn't United that refused. They accepted the man that was put by West Ham, but he refused to leave because he wanted more money from United. He put himself into this, and at the same time the manager of England is putting him into this craziness. Now this created this circle of chaos that is happening all over the world. We hate Harry Maguire. We are doing this. This is creating, we are just talking about what basics is supposed to be. And Southgate, rather than to look at himself in the mirror, because he's failing to be the leader we want him to be, he doesn't want to disappoint the player. Everyone doesn't want to be disappointed, but let's face fact. You are an England manager. We expect you to get the best players out there so that you create the best team that can go play so well out there. The reason why England plays a defensive team, it's because Gareth Southgate has to actually try to drop one of the midfielders to help out on Harry Maguire while there's a back three at the back. So it's chaos. He has to change his tactics, he's changing his formation because he's trying to impress a player. And now this creates chaos around the world, and you wonder where the chaos is coming from. Sometimes people have to use their mind, you know. This is really crazy that we still have to talk about this. But criticism has gone overboard. Let me tell you what caused the criticism to go overboard. Because now the away fans of any team that is playing against Harry Maguire expects him to make a mistake. And Arsenal fan were on the last game when he was catching the ball. The noises that they were making. We saw it with Scotland, the noises that they were making. So look at how this chaos has now created this whole entire illusion that we are all against Harry Maguire. Let's face fact, people. It's something that is man-made, and Southgate is the culprit. Let's just put it out there. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Am I being too harsh, or am I telling what everyone knows is the actual truth? I'm out.